13 plus 13 was done on one day when I was here. One of the things we want to keep track of, we do it 13, 14, and 15. Samson. And Samson is symbolic of Israel itself. He's a picture of Israel. Can anybody name the symbolic points of how Samson is a picture of the nation state of Israel? What's coming in the creation of Israel and what we read about Samson?
Stubborn, disobedient.
Right. That's right. That's one of the factors. Can anybody name another one?
Lustful.
Huh?
Lustful.
Yeah, but that's about the same.
Chosen.
I know, man.
Chosen. Who said that? Okay. All right. First, they're chosen. They're set apart.
Right.
Samson was chosen, set apart, consecrated, so to speak, providentially chosen. What else about in relationship to Israel fighting their enemies? What factors can we see that's similar to when Samson fight his enemies?
Isn't Samson's fight, it's Yah's fight. Yah fights for him.
Good. And what happens? What happens when Yah is behind the nation state of Israel? They win all the time. Much more powerful people. And somebody said lust.
I said much greater source of power.
Source of power. Israel's going to prevail, even against a Goliath. You see that throughout all of the Bible. When they are with Yah. But when they're not with Yah, they lose. And when Samson wasn't with Yah, he lose.
Bad times. Bad times for Samson.
Right. So as you go through Samson, we're seeing a picture of the nation state of Israel itself. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that we see is there's 6 miracle births in the Bible. Throw them out. What are they?
Elizabeth.
Right. John the Baptist. Samuel. Right.
I got one.
Yoshua. Right.
That's one. I'll save the best for last.
Isaac.
Daniel.
No, Daniel's not a miracle birth.
Samson, you include Samson, right? Or are you saying
Samson.
Samson.
The 6th verse, some kind of way.
Miracle birth.
Yeah, Yahweh says, for some kind of way, when he set apart something, he does it as symbolically through a miracle birth. Now, the nation state of Israel comes from Isaac. See, you got to have an overall view of the Bible. Isaac, right?
Or
His
Jacob.
2 sons.
Huh?
Those twins.
That's from Jacob. 12 tribes.
Right, the 12 tribes, but it starts with Abraham, right?
Right.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Right, and then Isaac is what?
Is son of Abraham? What you mean?
A miracle birth.
Oh, a miracle birth.
Oh, that's right.
Right, through Sarah.
Right.
What, what was she, 100 years old,
Yeah.
something like that?
97 years old, that's right.
Uh-huh. And then we have Jacob, who later on becomes Israel. Mhm. Now, one of the things is what's similar between Yeshua and Samson?
Yeah.
And that's
Where they died?
The way they died, and what was the result of that death?
Safari.
Hmm?
Destruction of the enemy.
Destruction of the enemy. If you see these patterns throughout the Bible, but to see these patterns and to really inculcate, we gotta read it. We gotta go through it.
That's right.
Then these patterns will become evident. After a while, it just comes to you instinctively whenever you see it. But you still gotta keep going through the Bible. Mhm. We did 13. Can somebody give me a summary of 13 in a story sort of fashion? Benoit?
Every time you ask a question, everybody get all silent.
We never had to answer you before.
I just asked 3 questions, two set of questions, and I was able to pull it out of you guys.
Okay, well, just to keep it short and sweet, the angel of Yah appeared onto Noah's wife
Mm-hmm.
and declared that she was going to have a son, and he was going to be Nazarite,
Right.
not by choice, but by choice, but not of his choice.
Consecrated.
Yeah, consecrated, showing Yah's providence.
Right. Set
So
apart.
the angel of Yah declared what Samson's role is going to be before he was born.
Now, the angel of Yah, we talked about that. Who is the angel of Yah?
Yeah, I'm sure that's
Okay.
sure.
Which means that Yeshua pre-existed.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's, how long has he been in existence?
From the beginning.
How long has he been in existence?
Yeah.
Is that a correct question?
It's
Yeah.
a trick question.
Yeah, all right. Okay, yeah.
Oh.
How long is he? Yeah, okay.
What does John start off saying?
In the
Beginning.
beginning.
Before the beginning. He who created.
Yes. He was before the beginning.
Right.
He has always been.
Always been. So as a result, he can show up any time in history that he wants to.
Mhm.
Not just 0 AD.
What?
0 AD.
No BC?
Okay.
I got a question. Is that why they call him the Ancient of Days?
No, Daniel called him that. You know, that's probably good. Ancient, but ancient implies time. What I keep trying to push is that Yeshua and Yahweh are not subject to time. They
Right.
created time.
Right.
But so Daniel uses ancient of days. That's probably maybe what he meant. But to me, ancient, when you say ancient, that kind of takes time. Mhm.
So it was something else that we discussed that I saw in 13 that the angel of Yah Yahshua, when he appeared unto Manoah, he appeared unto the woman, a barren woman.
Right.
We see a consistency with that also.
That is a consistency.
He didn't come to the husband, he came to the woman.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we probably need to get into why he has that pattern. With John the Baptist, he came to Elizabeth. With Yeshua, he came to
Mary.
Mary.
Did he come to Hagar?
Huh?
Didn't he come to Hagar also when she was
Nathaniel? Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Water in her womb.
Yeah. So that was something that when I read, I was like, you start to see the connections again.
You see the pattern
Yeah.
that runs, you know. One of the things when we started going through the Bible, we noticed the circular patterns that you see throughout the Bible. And, you know, I think it sums up best. There's nothing new under the sun. And as we study the Bible, we begin to see these patterns. The other aspect of we sort of concentrated on the Nazareth, and when a person in Leviticus is lays out that it's a voluntary. You decide that you want to take a Nazarite vow. We saw with Samson, he didn't volunteer this. Neither did his parents. They were selected. His mother was selected to become a Nazarite. And there's another thing. The mother was put under the Nazarite restrictions even before Samson was born.
Because he was already inside.
Huh?
Because he was already inside her, he had to be still already subject to it.
What do you see that concept also put forth? In other words, Yahweh operating on a person right before they even born.
Jeremiah?
Yeah. What was he said? You knit me together when I was in my mother's womb. See, that's the strongest argument against abortion.
That's right.
So,
It's in Psalms 139 also.
That's right.
And how John the Baptist reacted with the presence of Yehoshua before they
Right.
both saw him in mother's womb.
Receive the Ruach, that's another discussion.
So, I don't even try and debate people want to push abortion because abortion is clearly defined as murder.
Right.
That's right.
And not only that, not only that, you interrupted Yahshua's work and Yahweh's work as he's knitting together a life form in a mother's womb. Some doctor's going to come along and cut her open and kill that baby.
For convenience.
For convenience, that's correct.
So when they fight now because of the new Supreme Court nominee and stuff, and most of the liberals want to know whether or not if they can be pro-abortion or whatever.
That's right.
And it's murder, period.
It is. There's no way around it, particularly when you're a real student of the Bible. There's no way around. The Bible condemns murder in general, and the more innocent the person is, the worse the crime is. And there's nothing more innocent than a baby in the womb.
It is murder, but we have to look at it from a different standpoint, and that is it's a sacrifice to Mona.
To what?
Because if we don't deal with it from that standpoint, we can't deal with it. Because Hashatan is there whispering, the satanic agents are whispering in people's ears. And I'm not going to try to take you too far, but we have to understand this is a sacrifice.
But it's still murder. Sacrifice is murder, right?
Yes.
Don't.
You can stop murder easier than you can sacrifice.
True, but it's still
So if we
murder.
don't-
Let's not get off the
If we
definition.
don't get, we're not getting off.
Okay.
This is Bible study, is it right?
Right.
Okay. If we don't deal with the point that is a sacrifice, then you can't deal with it.
No, I said deal it. Deal
So-
with it as a sacrifice, but don't forget a sacrifice by definition is murder.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, 'cause I get tired of it.
No, I was just gonna say, they talk about how many people die with car accidents, how many people die because of guns, but they don't think anything about all the babies that are murdered in
Yeah.
abortion.
That's true, but let's not totally lose track. We all agree sacrifice is murder. And
A sacrifice is deeper than a murder.
Okay.
Yeshua was sacrificed for us.
right.
A sacrifice is deeper than a murder. A murder is just taking a life. A sacrifice goes beyond just taking a life. See, a lot of things go with it, as you were teaching.
Okay.
You were
Okay.
talking about the spirit realm as you were talking about Adam.
Anthony,
weren't talking about-
I'm not
we weren't talking
arguing
about the
against
physical.
what you're saying.
We
I
weren't
agree.
talking about the physical. You were talking about the
Okay.
spirit realm. So a sacrifice is spiritual. Murder is spiritual, but the spirit realm continues. See, you just cut it off physically, it's over with. As you said, Adam died, he was over. But when the sacrifice came, when Yeshua was sacrificed, we received from it now.
Okay.
So if I sacrifice to Molech or to Hashatan, there are consequences to it. And so if I don't deal with it and just try to lessen it, but don't know what it is, it doesn't change the spiritual realm. And it's the spirit realm that controls the physical realm. It's not the physical realm that controls. The scripture says we're seated in heavenly places in Hamashiach.
Dwayne?
So we have to deal with life
Before you
from
continue.
here down to earth, not from earth upward.
Before you continue,
Dwayne?
I know you're speaking.
Go ahead.
No scripture.
Huh?
You need your scriptures. You see, you went too far.
No, it didn't go too
You
far.
went too far. 'cause
No,
you
it all
focus on-
goes together.
Right, but that's fine. But the whole idea is that you have to have a scriptural foundation. Is what?
Okay, the
whole
scriptural
thing.
foundation is that it's a sacrifice. If you can go back to Adam,
But you're still
how
not.
many scriptures you want?
But you're not speaking scripture.
Okay, because I'm making a point.
Right, but that's
So I'm not gonna stop and pull back and say, okay, let me give you this one, let me give you that one.
But that's what we require.
Because I didn't know what your class was about.
Bible study.
But you
with the
made
Bible.
you made a statement, so I'm giving you what the scriptures say.
Right, but Bible study 101.
Nevertheless,
You
I'll
have
let
to
the
balance
moderator
it
talk
out.
to y'all about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Hey, look, we don't disagree with you, Andrew.
Yeah.
No.
That's the
no,
whole part.
But when you say that it's just murder,
No,
You're
no
not
one said
understanding
it's
what's
murder.
going on.
People said
and when you say I don't
murder.
want to hear that, you're not understanding what's going on. You can laugh and all of that, but it doesn't change anything, sir. I'm talking to you about scripture.
We
This
agree.
is scripture, what I'm saying to you. And we have to know how to apply scripture. And if we don't know how to apply it, we don't know the principles, all of that sounds good. But we have to understand and know.
So
If we have no revelation,
Let me
it
say
is what
something
it
about
is.
it. I really think that there's nothing wrong with open discussion, especially like what he's saying is true. So we don't disagree with the truth.
Right, we don't disagree.
It's the truth. And one of the things I was thinking about is a sacrifice. A person that has been chosen to be sacrificed for a particular reason does carry with it, based on my mindset running through the scriptures of the people and the children and people who sacrificed. Yah, when he got ready to condemn nations, one of the things that he would always bring up was not just the issue of whether they were murderers, but that they were sacrificing
Sacrificing.
children to Baal or to
Moab.
Moloch. So sacrifice, yes, it is murder. So we agree on that. But it's deeper than that. Because
Right.
it's not just because they were murdering. The Bible would point out that Yah was going to destroy a nation or destroy a people because they were sacrificing
Sacrificing
babies
infants.
to Moloch.
Right.
Versus just the fact of just randomly killing somebody
Right.
because you was mad at them. So I'm going to say we should probably, I know we're not doing it today, but we should probably take a look at that at a later time, how murder and sacrifice carried with it, both carried the death penalty, but why was sacrifice? Because I believe abortion was, now y'all might think I'm strange, but in the book of Enoch, right? We are told that demons taught men how to abort a child.
Right, that's right.
Which is deep, right?
Mhm.
To where, I know this is not the lesson today, just bringing out a point to where Anthony may have said something that we should probably just think about. Whether we're trying to correct him or not, whether we understand it or not. It's definitely something we need to think about, whether sacrifice is deeper than murder.
See, this is what this is going on. Look, right now, somebody mentioned it. You're gonna have to see the biggest fight in Washington D.C. over the new Supreme Court justice. Right. And if you would watch, I don't watch politics anymore.
Right.
But if you watch it, if you see the way the people are about preserving Roe versus Wade, it is religious.
Correct. Correct.
Present day abortions are sacrifices.
Yes.
to the God of convenience. So I totally agree with Anthony. I'm just saying keep it in the category of murder because the Bible speaks over and over again against murder. And it speaks specifically against killing babies because you're right. The one pattern you see throughout the history, not just in the Bible, but in all nations, nations that engage in sacrificing children are eventually destroyed. Yeah, I think true. Yah has a particular hatred of nations that sacrifice children as a part of their culture.
And he should, and he should.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we're talking about murder when a woman conceives a kid, a child.
From the time she conceived it,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, there is no, biblically,
Yeah.
based on scripture, at the moment of conception, not when the zygote can take its first breath or whatever, turn into a fetus and none of that. No, the moment of conception, the life has begun. So therefore, anytime a human kills that,
Mm-hmm.
now if the body naturally rejects it like in a miscarriage or something like that, or unfortunate accident or something, it's a whole different story.
Mhm.
But I mean, like you were saying, the interruption from an outside person, doctor or whoever, going into a woman's womb, which should be a safe place,
Right.
to kill that baby,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, when you say it's murder. The Bible doesn't have a time thing to say, it was cool if you did it the day she found out. Yeah, no, the Bible don't do that. You're right. That is, biblically we know from the scripture you said, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no getting around it.
And Samson, coming back to Samson,
Right.
he was consecrated before he was born because his mother had to follow the rules of a Nazarite.
Right. Mm-hmm. Which tells us something also, right? Is that we should be very conscious of how we live and conduct ourselves for our offspring.
Right,
Exactly.
that's true.
That's
That's
another
that's another aspect of it. That's right.
Enoch 69.
What?
Enoch 69.
Is that the
Oh, okay.
that's
So that's
the top teaching the abortion?
Abortion and English for abortion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now the other thing, and the last aspect that we should probably deal with a little bit deeper is how Israel and Samson correlated together. What did Samson do throughout his life? Remember, he ruled for quite a long time. What was it?
20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
Okay, what was it? What was his pattern? Huh?
What do you mean by pattern?
What was Samson's pattern?
Yeah, what was
what do you
his
mean?
passion? Somebody brought it up.
Oh, his passion.
His passion. Which is the pattern? Which women though?
Foreign women.
Strange
Foreign women. Yeah.
Assimilated. Learning
Now-
from the heathen.
He liked them videos.
Now what was Israel's passion?
Strange God.
Strange God.
He told them not to
See a
do.
parallel.
So, with that in mind, let's go on to 14.
What an intro.
Who wants to start us right? 14 through, I can't even see, man. These eyes are no good.
311.
Speaking of eyes, right,
311.
Samson?
14. Yeah, 14. Anybody want to start us up from 14?
And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore, get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. But his father and his...
Okay, back at this point. Notice what the parents say to Samson. Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brothers? Does this sound like they just suddenly came up with this?
No.
It's a pattern.
The very structure shows this is a pattern. This is not the first Philistine woman he's gotten hung up on. And what did they say to him? Hey, wait a minute. Can't you marry a nice Israelite girl? I mean, if every girl you see, it's got to be the Philistines. One of the things that this hits me deep because I remember prior to the 60s, back to the days of Black Power days, and one of the things the Black Power movement was dealing with was the fact that a lot of young black men thought the best thing in the world was to marry a white woman. They were automatically, white was beautiful. And what was that old expression? If you're white, you're right. If you're brown, stick around. If you're black, stay back.
I was darker the berry.
Yeah, that too. That's the reverse. But even back then when I read Samson, I thought about that. Is why do you have to, what's wrong? Is something wrong with somebody who's only attracted to strange women who are outside of his ethnic group? I'm not saying you can't marry someone or fall in love with someone outside your ethnic group, but this is a hint that this is habitual. He was only attracted to Philistine women.
So, one of the things that the Bible makes a distinction in between, say, like a stranger and something that's strange.
Right.
So, a stranger could sojourn with Israel and become part of Israel. But a strange woman or man could not. So the idea that Samson had a problem because he wanted to be not necessarily with a stranger, but with a strange woman. He was into the strange woman. And in this case,
And we
not a
see
European woman. In this case, we're talking about Hamites or non-Hebrew.
we're talking about Japheth. These are Greeks. Philistines are
Philistines.
Children of Cain.
They,
Cain.
They come from Canaan. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
no, not the Philistines. The Philistines were Greeks.
Philistines?
Yes, the Philistines were Greek.
Egyptian.
No, they were Greek. Yeah.
They were
No, you can take any archaeology book. They found 5 Philistine cities. They have pretty much dug them all up. What do they find? They find Greek pottery, Greek furniture, Greek art. No, the rest of them were Canaanites, the Moabites, Ammonites, but the Philistines were Greeks.
You trying to say they were from Japhet?
Yeah, they were from Japheth.
Hold on, man. We're going to look this one up. We got
Google.
Google, yeah, go ahead and Google it. And that's-
Philistines.
YouTube has lots of hard things on the Philistines.
I'll read it. The Philistines is equal to, means immigrant, inhabitants of Philistia, descendants of Mizraim, who immigrated from Kafur to Crete.
Right, from Crete.
But they immigrated to Crete.
No, from Crete.
immigrated from Capital.
They are with the other.
You read it? You got it wrong?
No, but I'm saying it says that Egypt.
Nobody wins.
To the western
You gotta understand, the Greeks moved, immigrated all over the Mediterranean.
Right.
They were a seafaring race. Because of the fact that they grew up among nothing but islands around Greece. So they learned to sail and do the sea very early. They, like one of the things, we've got to be very careful to get out of a Eurocentric way of looking at the world. Now, most of us think that Xerxes and Darius suddenly decided one day they was going to invade Greece. That's when you get to 300. They suddenly decided one day they was going to burn down Athens. And that just came out of the blue. No, the Greeks settled in Turkey, which is a part of the Persian Empire. The reason that Xerxes and others decided to invade Greece in the first place is they kept rebelling. They kept rebelling all the time. But no, go ahead and get into anthropology.
I think we've got something. Do we have something in Genesis?
Me or just you?
10.
Got a mouse in your pocket.
Bring it up, man.
10, what?
14. Yeah.
And Mizraim begot Lydian and Anaman and Lehabin and
Somebody pick out the word and say it.
Naphtuhim. And oh my gosh.
Well, you got more than you can bite on. Hey, you picked it out.
No, all right.
Where'd you get this from? I want to hear this.
And Patharism and Casluhim, out of whom came Philistine. And Caphtorium, and Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth.
Or you just Jacob,
14
right?
was the main one.
Good job.
You did Jacob.
So Egypt.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Canaanite, but those are the children of Canaan.
All right, let's go on.
Anyway, check it out. Don't take me for granted. Go ahead. Do somebody do the research. In fact, let me do this for a 201 study. Someone who can do the research on the Philistines, particularly archaeological, where did they come from? That's the question. Which family are they? Japheth, Ham, or Shem? We know they're not Shem. And most of the
Didn't they just read it? It was Ham? Yeah, it was Ham. We just read it in Genesis 10:14.
oh, okay, well, let's double check it. But I still maintain all the archaeological evidence said they were Greek. But the Philistines, don't get them mixed up. I've done that a couple of times with who was what's called from.
But don't we want it to be biblical and not archaeological? They both should be the same, but
They
don't we?
should be the same.
Right, but
Okay.
don't we want it to come from biblical texts?
Sure. So let's do an in-depth study of it. Somebody do it. But the present archaeological evidence, there's 5 cities, 5 Philistine cities. And all of the archaeological evidence indicates they were Greek. They have Greek architecture, they have Greek pottery, Even the gods they worship was Poseidon. And look at the Canaanites. They were Molech and Baal. They worship, you know. Their idols were Greek idols.
We'll search it out.
Yeah,
Let's keep
search
going.
it out. Search it out. Because this is a rabbit, we're going into real rabbit trails today. But we do see that pattern in Samson right here. Now let's keep going.
But his father and his mother knew not that it was of Yahweh, that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time, the Philistines had dominion over Israel.
Okay, and we've already talked about that. What gave them? What was their main technological advantage? Iron. Okay. Which is another indication that they were Greeks. Because yeah, it is. That's what iron came out of. Is the Europe. Before Canaanites was still Bronze Age. Bronze. Egypt. And all of them were Bronze Age.
Would it be fair to say, if they were Egyptian, that they could have migrated to Crete and been there and then migrated to Philistia?
That is possible. Yeah, that is definitely possible. We one of the things we got to get out of the framework is thinking that back then everybody was stuck in their own place and they didn't move around. But people moved around all the time. In fact, we see that in the Bible several times. There's 4 women named in the ancestry of Yeshua. Right? And who are these 4 women?
They were not Hebrew.
Right.
I mean,
People moved around all the time. I should say this. I'm speaking more from the culture more than anything else because they could, maybe so. But I'm saying culturally, they were Greeks. Greek architecture, Greek beliefs.
were they already organized as a people group? I mean, as a nation? Or
No,
like
no.
a nation? People?
No, they weren't a nation, they were a people group. When I said Greek, people group is a better term than say nation. No, they were just people, all of them, the Phoenicians, the Palestinians, and the Romans, Carthage. The Mediterranean Sea was very, very busy with people going all around it all the time. Colonies being established every place. Some of them successful, some of them dying out. So it wasn't a static environment, people group wise.
The reason why I understand that, what you're saying, is because we're taking the Philistine name coming from Ham.
Right.
But what you're saying is the land of the Philistines, the land,
The people
could
group.
have these people who came from Greece and
Right.
settled there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, today in Palestine, that's what kind of tripped me out.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to Palestine and you see Palestinians are made up of everybody.
Right.
It's just whoever's living in Palestine.
Right.
So you have Afro-Palestinians who've been there they whole, you familiar, yeah, you've seen the land.
You've seen
And I mean, it's a gang of Afro-Palestinians. You ask them, say, where you come from? They're like, it's my land. We're from, and they'll tell you what country or whatever. But I guess if you were to say, well, is this person a Philistine because he's from Palestine? I can understand that there's a possibility that a people group could have settled there and became the Philistines, but they were still in the land of Palestine, but they were Greeks.
But you can see it all the way, particularly North Africa.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. You see documentaries of, Morocco, Algiers, and all that kind of stuff. And then when you look at the city, everybody's white. Light skinned, well, I should put it that way. But if you go into the boondocks, into the boonies, everybody's dark skinned. But they both are called Moroccans, they both are called Algerians. So what the Bible speaks in terms of people groups more than nations. Israel became a nation, but it's a people group. What would you call Israel? Hebrews.
Oh, right.
But as a nation, it's called Israelites. That's a fascinating subject.
Now, y'all went way. I had a
I
question
know.
about four.
No, but it makes
No.
That's
I'm going to bring it back to another point in four. I have a question about four.
Hey, I'm sorry. Just messing with you.
And I thought we was cool.
We cool, man.
Okay, go ahead. Bernard.
So it said in four that all the decisions that Samson was making about getting the Philistine, then it says, but the father and mother knew not that it was of Yahuwah.
Okay. Oh boy.
That he saw an occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel.
Right.
So.
No, go ahead, man.
I'm just saying. So I had brought out a question how we have this thought about Samson, like, well, he picked the foreign women, stuff like that. But then in four, it's like Yah was setting forth an action to bring them in direct line so he can start judging the Philistines. So that's a very interesting thing that we were about to skip over. Any questions?
It's like he's using Samson's temperament to bring about his
ultimate plan to judge
Exactly.
Philistines.
Which is to kick the hell out of the.
and go after strange women.
But that line got me
Go after
too.
strange women.
When I was reading that, it said like, it almost suggests that Samson was doing it so that he could get close to them, so he could take over. Or not take over, but to judge them into
Judge him, right? To kill a lot of them, because he's going to kill a hell of a lot of them.
Because when you read that, people automatically think, oh, he's breaking Torah. He not honoring his father and his mom.
He's breaking
He is
Torah.
breaking Torah.
But in that sense.
But he's being used.
No, but he's still being used by
But
Yah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. From the perspective, it says that the mother and the father didn't know. As a response to them saying, why you just can't choose a
Right,
Hebrew?
right.
So they didn't know that it was Yah's providence was taking over.
That's right. Good.
You got a pretty face, man.
Yeah, I just thought you had a pretty face. But you got an intellect behind it.
I don't know about you youngins. Us elders up here, we got it going on.
But no, that's very. And you see these hints throughout the Bible. Even when people set out to do something evil, there's a couple of verses that says it. We meant for, who said that?
Joseph.
You meant it for evil. Yah used it for good.
Oh, it's pretty good.
And this is Samson right here. He's doing it right here. Samson just seeing he just wants to go, what was he said, strange woman? Not a stranger, but a strange woman.
Right.
But Yah is using that because this, like I said, Samson is the beginning of the defeat of the Philistines. It's a 250 to 300 year war. Continued on by Saul, continued on by David. But Samson is the beginning, and that's when he first starts killing a whole bunch of them, in spite of their technological advantage of having iron. Yeah.
This may be a really small semantic point, maybe, but the difference between Yahuwah using what was happening and Yahuwah meaning for it to happen, I just think sometimes the way I read the scripture is that Yahuwah meant for it to happen the way it was happening. It wasn't some accident that was happening and Yahuwah said, oh,
Oh, yeah,
I can use that. I can use that. You know, like at first he was like shocking. Oh my God, what's he doing? Oh wait, I can use that. No,
Well,
he
this-
knew from the beginning.
was orchestrated.
What was going to
that
happen?
way.
Well, that's still,
And-
that goes back to Adam and Eve. Did they catch Yahweh by surprise?
No.
Oh, he knew this was
But
there.
it goes back to your point that it said, when you went up to the first verse where it said, is there never? So he was always doing that.
Right. It's a
But-
pattern.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
outside of.
So Yah, this is gonna get really strange. So Yah looks at the pattern or knows the pattern of certain people, and then chooses them to do something because he knows what choices they're gonna make.
Yeah.
Right,
So that he
right.
can accomplish his end game, his end
So,
goal.
so that balances sovereignty.
Oh, that's right,
That's,
Lord.
that's sovereignty on one hand and free will on another.
Specifics,
Is that his
individuals,
being omniscient?
not the collective.
Huh?
That, is that him being omniscient? He
Y'all
knows,
working on individuals.
he knows everything.
Yeah, he's
so
omniscient.
believes
He
in
knows
him.
what's gonna happen.
Right.
It's out of time.
He knows, he's above time. He knows exactly what's gonna happen in each of our lives. And he uses even our evil predilections and what, the term you came up with, non-functional decision making, dysfunctional. He uses that to achieve his purposes.
So then to clarify, he was out, Samson was outside of Torah, but yet y'all still use it.
Oh yeah, he all through
That's
the
his
Torah
whole
we
life.
see him using people.
No,
The other
man.
time, look at the Pharaoh. Look at the
We're
Pharaoh.
gonna finish this, y'all.
Look at the
We're not
Pharaoh.
gonna get this group and think you're gonna get me. We're finishing this one.
Look at the Pharaoh. That's the primary example.
Yep.
He hardened his heart.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
He knew he wasn't going to let him go. I mean, the first request was modest. Hey, we just want to go out into the countryside and worship our Elohim. Suppose the Pharaoh said, "Oh, that's okay. I can dig that. Go ahead and do it. I'll be back in 5 days."
And we're taking everything.
Huh?
We're taking everything with us.
No, but that wasn't the request at the beginning.
Right.
Uh-huh.
But Yah told him, before Moses even went back, he said, man, he's not gonna let you go.
Right, he's not going to let you go.
He knew it.
Right. And that's hard. That's one of the things I think in Christianity they don't grasp. That's one of the biggest defects in Christianity, and they really see that they can manipulate Yahweh, and that He can be manipulated. But I don't want to start another rabbit trail. Let's get back on track. Where are we?
5.
Then went Samson down, and his father and his mother, to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath. And behold, a young lion roared against him. And the spirit of Yahuwah came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid. And he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he had done.
What's the better translation?
Rock.
What's of Yah? Right. The Ruah of Yah. Why is that a better translation than the Spirit of Yah, particularly in our culture?
Breath.
Ruah.
In terms of what? Like,
Well, when you say Spirit, what pops in your mind?
Ghost.
Ghost, right.
so Samson then started speaking in tongues and then ripped out the.
But the breath, the breath, I think it more accurately describes what we're dealing with. Yes.
We talked, some of us talked about this before, and this helps debunk that only in the New Testament did the Spirit or the Ruach ever show up.
That's true. I've heard that. I've heard that. Oh, what they say is this: in the Old Testament, the Spirit will land on you at a certain time. In the New Testament, it indwells you.
But Torah was supposed to, if the Ruach is Torah, it was supposed to be guiding our lives every day, all
Right.
day. The breath of Yah was supposed to be what? was giving us life on a regular basis, right?
Right.
So this idea of the English way of understanding that, it does make you think of a ghost.
Right.
Who comes in the room, possesses a person, and
Right.
then
Oh, yeah.
it
Well,
flies
well,
out,
it's like-
and it
it's
flies
like-
out
like
somewhere.
exorcism over here. Satan is happening to you. Yah is happening to you.
Yeah,
Foam at the mouth.
I can see that.
Okay. Like, continue on.
Okay, I stand to be corrected. And the
No,
Ruach
it's not
of
correct.
Yahweh
I'm just
came
coming out
mighty
with a
upon him.
better
Now go ahead.
translation.
No,
A
you're
more
right.
accurate translation.
Right.
Go ahead.
And he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. And after a time he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took thereof in his hands, and went on eating, and came to his father and mother. And he gave them, and they did eat. But he told not them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion.
Okay, now this is what I wanted. Leroy, and Leroy says he invited G to make a presentation. Can you guys do that next week? Okay. What's wrong with this particular unclean food? And, huh?
Yeah, that is right.
From the lion?
Huh?
It's dead.
It's an unclean animal.
It's an unclean animal.
It was dead and
And
touched
it
it.
was
Right, right, but
Yeah.
I want to go in scripture, and not only that, now his mother and father didn't know where that honey came from.
Right.
Yes,
they did. They probably never eat it. That's right.
Right. Do they face any consequences?
No.
Not if they didn't know.
But anyway, go into that deeper next week. Okay? I'll let you guys do the presentation next week. Mhm.
Continue.
Mhm.
So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for it so used young men to do. And it came to pass, when they saw him, that they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If ye can certainly declare it me within the 7 days of the feast, and find it out, then I will give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. But if ye cannot declare it me, then shall ye give me 30 sheets and 30 change of garments? And they said unto him, Put forth thy riddle, that we may hear it. And he said unto them, Out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle.
Okay, let's think about this. This is a fair riddle in the first place.
Samson getting his hustle on, man. Don't be
Right, because he knew the answer.
You don't think it's fair?
These people didn't see the lion. They didn't see him kill a lion. They didn't see him come back and see honey in the lion.
Ain't that why it's a riddle?
Well, no, a riddle should be solvable. If you think about it, independently solvable. A fair riddle should be something that if when somebody tell you what the sushi is, you say, "Oh man, I should have got that."
Batman versus without any insight.
Right.
What do you get from
You
a
know-
pamper cow? Spoiled milk.
Where'd you get that from?
It's solvable.
What you get
Hey,
from
we
a
can take
what?
this on the road, man. I
What
can
you
get
get from a
money.
what?
What do you get from a pampered cow? Spoiled milk.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that's very realistic. But the thing is, he's setting up the crime these people.
Exactly, because he knew the answer.
He knew the answer, and he knew you couldn't reach the answer by logic. Or
Torah following, man.
So, in essence, it was not a fair
That's
riddle.
what you're saying.
Right, right.
They
It's not
would have
a fair
had
riddle.
no way of figuring that out.
Let me flip it.
More, they would have figured
I got you.
I'm gonna flip it.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
It would be a fair riddle. They chose to accept the challenge.
Uh-huh.
Now, if they once he told them that riddle, they would say, "Man, ain't nobody gonna be able to figure that out."
Right.
They could have made that
If
anything.
they-
They could have said, "No, we ain't. We ain't."
If
we
they
ain't
had
falling
some
for that."
sense, they would
But
say
they
no.
went and tried to solve it for 3 days.
Right.
So that's on
The
them.
question is, but why though? That was so enticing.
Well, okay, that's
And why
another
3
question.
days?
Well, he gave him
That's
7.
What, are we talking about chump change here?
No.
Are we talking about a couple of t-shirts?
30 sheets?
I can give you 30
Some
t-shirts.
fruit balloons.
Now, I mean, clothes were expensive in those days.
Time is up.
10 minutes.
And it took a lot of time to make clothes. And most people went their whole life, if they were lucky, if they had 2 pair of clothes.
That's true.
So it's a hell of a bet.
Right.
Is it wrong for him to have put forth a bet?
So what?
Is it wrong for him to have put forth a wager?
Hmm?
Was that wrong?
Gambling.
Yes. Was that wrong?
Gambling and cheating. The Torah speaks against that. Bad weights and stuff like that.
Unequal weights and measures.
Moving a person's landmarks. That's stealing. It's a kind game.
Yeah, but when,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
and I'm just saying, as we read on it, when we read further down, it seems like it's an interesting thing that occurs.
Oh yeah, it does. That's why it backfires on them. It backfires
I'm
on them in a
saying,
big way.
like, it seems like when he does these particular things, when it quote unquote backfires, then his purpose begins to become served.
That's true.
Well, Yah's purpose set up for him to get served. Like he served a riddle, they can't get it, they lie, trick, and stuff like that. And then it said, and then the spirit of Yah came upon them and started killing people.
Mhm.
Hey man, why you skipping that?
All right, I'm just saying.
You ain't read that yet.
I know I went too far, but
You didn't say spoiler alert.
I know,
Hey, Marvin.
Spoiler alert.
Marvin will not go to the movies with me.
Never.
It's hard for me to sit there when you see that when you start seeing it. I go, oh yeah, he finna kill him. Oh yeah, he did it. Yeah, that's hard for me to see.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
that's hard for me to
You
see.
know somebody got that.
That's good. That's really good.
I don't like this
So we
part.
can do that. Oh yeah.
Okay, you might put on read.
The hero gonna win. The hero gonna win. And the other.
Well, yeah, verse 14. G, we have verse 14.
Oh, I have gone to the movies with El Voice, and he told me about the Marvel movies. I was ready to walk out on the credits. He says, oh no, in the end, they're gonna show something about it. So I sat through it, and he's right, and then I went to see another one, and I sat through it. I think there was 1 or 2 people there. And finally, I saw it. I go, they didn't see it. I saw it. So I was grateful he told me about that.
Oh, no.
Get some credit now.
Okay. I'm not continuously ruining the plot, but where we now?
Verse 14.
I'll just provoke you again a little bit. We're basing the idea that he was cheating by saying that they didn't know about the lion and the honey and the lion.
Mhm.
But do you think that was a completely unknown thing that never happened, that nobody knew about?
Well, how
That bees would
often-
make honey in the
How
carcass of
often
a
do
dead
you
animal?
see men carrying lines across the people with their bare hands, letting them lay down, then line, and then honey being in it?
I can never say that again in life. So,
That can't be a common
so then,
occurrence.
Oh, no, that can't be a common thing.
Uh.
But bees finding a carcass and making honey inside the carcass.
That's
so
probably
pretty
a
common
thing.
That's
occurrence.
pretty common.
But go over the riddle again. The riddle required them to do solve the whole thing.
Well, yeah, of course, because it's a riddle.
Right.
so could the overall arching thing being that Yah was setting them up for failure?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, granted, it was gonna be tough for them, because,
Tough.
but, you know, you said about food and, you know, something sweet. You know, their minds could have gone to honey and a carcass, but they wouldn't necessarily think of it as being a lion. You know, I guess I'm just trying to be a little bit
No, that's all right.
of an advocate here.
But the thing about it is, in essence, this is unfair. The only way they could find out
But to
is
cheat
how-
themselves, was for to cheat
was
themselves.
to cheat themselves, which they did.
We gonna read it?
Oh, yeah. Gonna read it.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that was not Delilah. That's another one.
Who said the letter?
Yeah, that's another thing that we discussed. That everybody always links Samson with Delilah, of course, but he dealt with other women too.
Right.
Delilah's not even mentioned.
Do you know this woman's name, I guess?
They don't even give the name.
Let's put it,
And it's cool how he just pushed it to the side.
one of the
We gotta read it
things,
though.
keep this in mind, what's the best definition of insanity that anybody has
Doing
ever
the same
given?
thing.
Doing the same thing over and over again.
Expecting some different results, right?
Mine was Teshua.
So, this is a pre-cruise, you know, one pre-cruise, one Philistine woman messed him up, and he's gonna eventually be messed up by another Philistine woman.
But this is, you gonna
That
read
was
it?
his nature.
Yeah, let's give it.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that they said unto Samson's wife, Entice thy husband, that he may declare unto us the riddle, lest we burn thee and thy father's house with fire. Have ye called us to take that we have? Is it not so? And Samson's wife wept before him and said, Thou dost but hate me, and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and hast not told it me. And he said unto her, Behold, I have not told it my father nor my mother, and shall I tell it thee? And she wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted. And it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her, because she lay sore upon him. And she told the riddle to the children of her people. And the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day before the sun went down, What is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion? And he said unto them, If ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle.
Now, he says it himself there. He says if you hadn't dug it out of her, you never would have guessed this way. He knew it was unfair from the time he did it.
Right.
Is that where we get Jeopardy from?
Jeopardy.
No, I'm serious. I answered it in question form. I was like, this is the first game in Jeopardy.
Well, we got 2 more verses. We just read the 2 verses.
Yeah, just finish the 2 verses.
No, because the 19th is important. What I was trying to figure out.
And the spirit of Yahweh came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon, and slew 30 men of them, and took their spoil, and gave change to garments unto them, which expounded the riddle. And his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. But Samson's wife was given to his companions, whom he had used as his friend.
In other words, Samson's wife was given to his best man.
Yeah. But the point in 19, I was saying, the men use threats to the woman to get the answer to a riddle that he knew that they weren't going to get.
Right.
So they fought fire with fire.
Yeah, but it wasn't really fire with fire because the spirit of Yah came on him and killed them.
Right.
So my thing I'm throwing out is that was that Samson's purpose?
Yeah,
As judge.
I totally agree.
Was his purpose? Yes, but he's still operating Torah.
Let me tie this to Revelation. And then we're in, I've gotten the high sign from Leroy. One of the things that frustrated me about Christianity more than anything is for years this gentle Jesus wouldn't touch a fly. But when you read Revelation, when Yeshua returns, he's going to kill a lot of people.
So he won't be riding a donkey.
No, he won't be riding a donkey. He'll be wearing a war horse. And the thing about it is, you see it as Yahweh kills people. Although right here he's using Samson to kill people. Okay, so let's see. That's it. Okay, next week we get on 15. And that'll be the last of Samson. But now next week we'll deal with Leroy and Gene. So anybody wants to end us in prayer?
Go ahead.
Too slow.
Heavenly Father, how we are thankful for another Shabbat. Thank you for bringing the brothers together again to study your word, to conversate, to get out of our houses with our wives. But we love our wives to death. And we pray that you allow your word to illuminate our minds so that we continue to walk in your ways and not fix you up and cause you to destroy us like you did. Pray this things through. Love you so much. It's in your name we pray.
Amen.
Hey, that was a good prayer. That was like this on the couple. Man, I felt that prayer from the heart. Yeah, that word. That wasn't no empty word.
Yeah, I like it.
Man, that was long.